The Flyin Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flyin Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
Soccer is my favorite sport now.
Jersey swap.
Car of the week, trivia question of the week.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Flyin Lion podcast. We are here tonight for the official 2025 MLS preview for FC Cincinnati. You got a lot to talk about tonight, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. We got a new season coming upon us here. Third season of the Flyin Lion pod, so that'll be a good time. Excited to get this thing going. Finally here, Ryan. It's finally February. Feels like, you know, obviously first years we've had FC Cincinnati, we started in, March, right? And now we're all the way in the beginning of April or mid-April playing soccer. So, wow. I mean, it catches up to you real quick.
Did you mean February, in the middle of February?
February. Did I say what did
You
I
said
say?
April.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're getting a little ahead of yourself.
All the months are like coming together, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just excited for soccer. I'm just excited.
Live FC Cincinnati soccer that matters. You know, we have CONCACAF Champions Cup. We're going to do a preview later on in the episode about that. We'll do a little bit of a preview of the New York Red Bulls match day 1. First part of the episode, we'll knock out end of the preseason, how those games went, some roster updates everyone wants to know, the Lucho details, the possible incoming player details as well. So we have it all for you tonight. We're really excited about this year. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for joining. Like Sam mentioned, typically we'll do a weekly kind of episode and we'll break down these different matches. We always will do a trivia question in the middle of the episode as well. And give you the answer by the end, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, preseason game number 4, Sam. It was a 2-2 tie against Atlanta United. New look Atlanta United, but didn't see a lot of the new faces for them. Lineup-wise, we had Roman Salentano. We had a trialist, another trialist, which I believe was at the time Lucas Engel, and then Noah Adnan, I think, was the one that we came down to. Miles Robinson, Alvis Powell, DeAndre Yedlin, Pavel Buka, Wobodo, Kubo, Corey Baird, and Kevin Danke. Of note, Luca Oriano was out because of an illness that the team reported. Is there anything there with the contract situation? Who knows? But that was the lineup that we put out, Sam. The refs apparently were very whistle-friendly in this match. Carter was reporting there was a lot of yellows going on for a preseason match, but everyone's obviously getting closer towards the beginning of the season. There's a lot of energy there. We did not get to watch this game. Unfortunately, they had to switch fields, so we didn't get a live stream for the sickos that wanted to watch it. Yeah. But from what you kind of gathered in the whole game, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, thoughts throughout the whole game. You're looking at the lineup. Everybody except probably Corey Baird is kind of what you're thinking. Obviously, Alvis Powell in there is nice to see him kind of start off or get with those starting guys. And then obviously you got the two trialists that you're just trying to get them in the rotation, right? Get them feeling how things go. Continue to do that. Orashano out with an illness. I mean, you never know. Never know what that really is, but we'll take it with a grain of salt, and we hope he's ready for this upcoming week. But yeah, Ryan, it was nice to see. Obviously first half nothing there, but Denke gets his first FC Cincinnati goal. Looks pretty good. I mean, he used his opposite foot.
Yeah, no, left-footed finish, goes past a couple players. I think Yedlin was in the build-up for this goal and for the Mamba Dem goal that we get later on in the match. Like I mentioned, it ended up being 2-2. We don't really get how the PK happened for them to tie it late on in the match. Carter thought it wasn't, a great call. I know that you had put not a great way to finish your preseason, but ultimately we didn't lose any of the preseason games. We were 2-2.
It left a bad taste in your mouth. Obviously when you give up a PK.
It's been a weird preseason. We have trialists, we've got FCC 2 players. We don't have a lot of first-team guys. If we had first-team guys, like they're either injured or, some of them reported late. So even in the last match, we didn't get like what we would call a true lineup for what we're going to see for match day 1. Yeah. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. the big roster updates everyone wants to know, the big scenario, Sam, it finally gets settled. The Lucho Casas situation, from the very, very beginning of preseason, if you want to call it, after the NYCFC game, he makes these comments. And we go on for what, 2.5, 3 months where we're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Is he going to stay? Is he gonna go? He finally reports he was with the club, but he wasn't training. Like, it was just such a circus. But Lucho finally gets sold to FC Dallas, up to $6 million coming to FC Cincinnati for this. We can convert some of that money, the GAM, the much needed GAM that we need for roster compliance. But what are your initial thoughts, man?
Yeah, it's always bittersweet, right? To see things like this happen. It had been building and building and building as we had been talking about for the entire offseason. And we just we're very grateful for the times that he gave us, the moments that he gave us. Obviously with it falling out at the end, there is that bit of bad taste in your mouth. But once again, you see all the headlines and everything, and you have to remind yourself he still is the greatest FC Cincinnati player to touch to the field, right? And he should be spoken of so. But I don't know, dude. May should be interesting.
Yeah, you're speaking on the game where we play FC Dallas at home. Sam, booze at that game? No booze?
I hope not. There will be
no.
booze. There will be booze.
There'll be booze, but I mean, come on. Like you mentioned, like so grateful for Lucho for his time in orange and blue. Like you mentioned, the best player to don the colors, honestly. And for him being the captain, the soul of the team, the game winner, the MVP, all of it. We thank him for what he's done for not only the club, but for the city as well, for revitalizing a fan base that was, just had a terrible taste in its mouth from the first couple seasons. So to show us what it meant to play good soccer again and to get us off of our butts, honestly, any time that he touched the ball because you knew something was going to happen, we can't thank him enough for that. It's so weird to see him in different colors.
So weird.
Having him train with Dallas now, you're seeing the photos, the videos. It's funny to see kind of his initial interviews because I still think he's a little bit shocked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the way that things played out. If you're explaining to the casual fan, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not as much of a casual fan. But if you're explaining it to a casual fan, they're like, why did you get rid of your best player? And this whole scenario has just come to this point. The club needed to move on, from our standpoint, from his standpoint, all parties felt like, hey, this is what we need to do. We wish it would have ended differently. Do we still build that statue? It's yet to be seen. But it ends up being at the very end of the preseason. It kind of leaves us in a little bit of a bind, but it sounds like things are coming in. Before we touch on that, Sam, you got to give me your favorite Lucho moment in orange and blue.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than goal of the year, I think my favorite Lucho moment is probably just in game in general, that 4-3 game last season against Philly. He scores the game-winning goal in the 100th minute. And I believe, Ryan, that was the game where he goes to the corner, right? And he's going, this is my city. This is my city, right? And looking back, obviously in the moment, you're going, yes, build the statue, like everything, give this man everything. Because and in that moment in time, right? I believe that was the middle of the summer when that game was, or like towards the end of the summer there. And he was just carrying the team on his shoulders game after game. And it was
I'll never forget that moment because, we actually had been going to the hospital. My wife was going to be giving birth and, I'm following along to this match and we end up winning, on this unbelievable goal. It comes right on the heels of injuries, to Matt Miazga, to Nick Hagelin. So in that moment, it was just such a big thing for him to just be like, this is my team,
Yeah.
I know what's going on, but I'm going to take over. And yeah, what a great moment. I think that's when you solidified the questions about, should we start talking about the legendary things with him? But
yeah. Oh, I believe there even the season before, I think the celebration of him like with his arms out wide, I believe was the season before.
yeah,
And I had created the actual
for goal of the year.
Yeah, the golden statue, right? That is when I had created it. But I feel like this kind of solidified, hey, we should actually like legitimately be thinking about this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, once again, it may be pending still, given his departure, but my goodness, what a moment.
Yeah, no, I think that again was a great shout. I'm gonna go with my favorite Lucho moment as his solo goal of the year from midfield. Take your, what is it, Mucho Lucho? Yeah, the
Yes,
Mucho Lucho
sir.
goal, if you want to call it. Just unbelievable solo. I've never seen a single moment like that, watching it live. You've seen, the Messi moments, you've seen the Maradonias, but seeing it, in person, and you're like, oh my gosh, did he just do that? Did he just take on half the team and score that goal? I, Sam, it's one of one. It really honestly is. There's no other way to describe him as a player. He's one of one, and I'm going to miss that, for all the things that we have coming forward. I'm very excited about. But for just the heart that the guy put on the field in those certain moments, let's say, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And it's hard to deny, obviously, goal of the year being the big moment. That was the MVP moment, that he stamped on that season. When it had your mind blown. Literally just what can't this guy do? He can score, he can assist. Obviously he's carrying the team on his back. So tough to see him go, but excited for the future. We got a bright new player coming on in.
Yeah, all reports lead to Evander Ferreira of Portland Timbers, a Brazilian center midfielder, a number 10 if you want to call him, but a little bit non-traditional of a number 10. Hopefully going to be announced here soon. Laurel is reporting that he's down with the club in Florida, finishing the negotiations. I think I had kind of put out there on the socials as well. At one point, he did follow FC Cincinnati on Instagram. I think he actually retracted that since, because he's like, all right, it's not finalized yet. But hopefully, by the time you're listening today, being Monday, we've gotten that news. But Evander, the big name to know, Sam. What I'm gonna kind of describe to you about Evander and what we expect to the fan listening here. 26 years old, so he's a couple of years younger than Lucho, center attacking midfielder, but he's played in a lot of different positions. He actually did play for Vasco da Gama, was his club down in Brazil. So there's a couple photos out there that I've dubbed of him and Luca Orachano. They did not play together. They were at different times, when they were down in Vasco. But he went from there. He went over to, I believe it was Denmark for a little bit as well. Did really well there, played Champions League. Actually played more of like a number 8 at that time. When he went over to Portland, they kind of converted him to like a number 10, a little bit of a false 9 striker. So honestly, he's got a little bit of experience in a lot of those different midfield spots, which I think is huge for our team, and I'll kind of touch on that. If you go and watch this player, effortless dribbling, his passing has a little bit of flair to it. He loves kind of lulling the defense to sleep, and then his first touch, his quick change of pace is what kind of sets him apart. He's 5'11", so he can kind of win those headers a little bit more forward that Lucho couldn't maybe. And then his long balls over the top, whether long balls with passes, free kicks are unbelievable on his long distance shots, which is, I think him and Orachano probably have the deadliest duo, I would say, for long shots in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy's going to be special, with the likes of Denke and Orashano up top. And I think he's got obviously a phenomenal midfield behind him in Buka and Obi. So that way he can really just get after it, in that front half of the field. But Ryan, like you're saying, a lot of stuff he can do is effortless, and he's coming off the best season he's ever had. So we're getting him in his prime, along with two other players up top that are in their prime. So exciting things to come for FC Cincinnati. Hopefully, like you said, that gets announced this week. I'm stoked. I'm excited. Another Brazilian to the squad. I know they were like talking about, oh, hey, he joined Santos on FC Cincinnati. I was like, oh, wow, like Santos is actually being mentioned in an international article. It's probably been a while for him.
Yeah, that is kind of funny, but at least you have a little bit of familiarity possibly with that. I know that he, at one point had asked Brenner actually about coming to Cincinnati and kind of did his research, with the club. So hopefully Brenner had a good rapport for that. But yeah, I'm very excited about this guy. If you go and watch some of his interviews, he talks about how he likes to drift a little bit out to the left in the midfield, which is very reminiscent of what Lucho used to do as well. So I kind of see an interchangeable play with him and Orishano where, maybe he drifts out a little bit more left, Orishano out right so he can cut in on his left foot. Do you see Orishano up a little bit more forward with Denke or even Evander up there? I think, honestly, it's very fluid.
Yeah.
You might line up a certain way, but you might kind of do what we did last year and have a little bit more interplay with that. Denke even coming back to get the ball in some aspects, but you want him, forward, obviously. I just think that in a lot of ways, he's comfortable in a lot of these different positions. So even though he hasn't had time to integrate with the squad, I think he will do a good job at kind of just picking it up on the fly and understanding like, hey, where do they need me? Where can I kind of float to the space? Where can I create? And we just need more creation up front. We need a better passer, in those situations. There's a lot of talk about ball progression. I think Buka is going to take a big step forward with Evander in there as well, in the connection with the two of them, whipping balls out wide, getting it into the box. I mean, defenses aren't going to know what to do with the three-headed attack that we have. So very excited about Evander. We did get news finally, Sam, official announcement for Lucas Engel. It's pending getting his P1 visa. So apparently this is a non-immigrant visa, allows athletes to come to the States to work. Notably, they kind of press this forward because they've achieved notable success in their field as well. It sounds like he's been training. He's with the squad. I'm ready for him to, step on the field. I think he's been there for 2-3 matches now. So I think hopefully he's ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to finally get the official announcement. Middlesbrough had put something out, a couple days before, and it was like, oh, is it coming? And then it didn't. And we finally got the FC Cincinnati side of it. But Ryan, even more interesting news from Laura on this. Not paying a loan fee is actually huge. Saves a little bit of money there on that. We still have the potential to buy, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So, loan with a buy option. Per Laurel, I didn't see it from the club standpoint, but not paying a loan fee, like you mentioned, is large, especially with all the other issues we had going on. Albright, in kind of his talk about him, says he's a versatile player, great engine, help balance our defense and attack, like I had mentioned in previous episodes. He's been a natural, more attacking player. He's played the 10 before. I think he's been in a couple more forward positions. So on that left side, it's been crucial for us, in the last few seasons with who we've had. He's got big shoes to fill, Sam. Like, I think that's the biggest thing.
The last two left wing backs, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Like, I think you definitely start in there. There's all this talk too, I've heard of, does Orishano go there or not? And like, I think Orishano wants to play forward. Maybe, the position we're trying to put him in isn't exactly perfect, but I think if you bring in Engel here, like you're going to be playing him out on the width. So that's where I see that moving forward. The update on the Orishano contract situation, give me a lowdown on that one.
Yeah, a little bit of a lowdown on the Orishano contract situation. His representatives were alleging a lack of salary payment during his loan to FC Cincinnati last year. Vasco da Gama claims that there was an error on Orishano's team's part. So there's a little bit of a miscommunication there in between agent Vasco da Gama, FC Cincinnati involved. Orishano, obviously, like we had mentioned earlier in the podcast, still looking for a raise from FC Cincinnati. So all of this kind of ties into each other. It almost sounds like he should get a new management because all of this is blown out of proportion. I'm sure he just wants to focus on ball. So things are getting interesting as we close into the beginning of the season here.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. This report comes out and I feel bad for the guy. If Vasco was taking a majority of his salary last year and then he wasn't even getting his money, that's an issue. And, obviously now this year and the contract issues too. Hopefully the Lucho situation helps to kind of clarify, can we give him a little bit of bump in pay and get him happy? We need a happy Luca Orishano. There was a little bit of rumblings, I think, from a Brazilian account about there was interest from Botafogo and they're going to submit a formal offer. The club straight out, earlier on in the preseason said we're not entertaining offers. Like, if you go and look at all the videos, from the preseason, Lucho wasn't in it. It was all about Orishano. So their plan is keeping him around. There's no way at this point, without time to get a replacement for him. You just brought in Evander. Like, I don't believe there's a way that we do that unless it is a high number. And they just gave $17 million to Santi Rodriguez for NYCFC.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of saw it and was like, yeah, I mean, we already kind of know FC Cincinnati is not getting rid of Orishano at all. They stated that right at the beginning of, this whole January transfer window. So hopefully no other rumblings happen. We can just glide on into the first game of the year with hopefully not too much drama other than, hey, Evander's here,
Right. Yeah. And maybe like we mentioned with Orishano, even if the summer comes around and it's a high number, maybe then you have more time. But our window's still open until April. So to everyone's point, yeah, you can still bring in players, but you're starting the year without, possibly Evander, possibly Orishano as well. Like you're kind of handicapping, Pat Noonan at that point. So hopefully Orishano stays. It sounds like hopefully he will. But the Gilberto Flores situation, Sam. So our U22 center back was in Cincinnati over the weekend. Mercy Health, I would imagine for his medical. He got his visa stuff cleared up. Reports out from Carter today that he was in training. So it's good to see him hopefully starting to integrate with the squad. I don't think you're going to probably see him for the first couple games, in my opinion. He hasn't had any time to train, be with the club, or anything. We are in kind of a more desperate need for some center backs. So there might be some looks, for a sub appearance or something like that, but I don't think he plays a ton of minutes to start.
No. I think most like I think wishful thinking obviously is he'll play a home opener, Red Bulls, like you said, possibly as a sub. But other than that, I don't really think so. I think, like you said, he needs to get acquainted with the squad. Obviously, he's fit because he's been training on his own. So I don't think that would be an issue. But I think you could see him, like I said, against Red Bulls or like you said, the next game against Philly away match.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, we get him integrated quick. But officially to have those two guys training with the squad, like that's a good thing. It's finally here. It's been a little bit since we've had some of those announcements, and for the players to get here, it just shows you how difficult it can be to actually like get the players, with the squad. Yeah. It's kind of sad to say, but it's true.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit of a lengthy process, but I mean, I thought it was nice that, we saw the photo of him in Cincinnati, and then the next day, he's off, right? So I had thought he was going to stay in Cincinnati and wait for the team to come back, but yeah. I'm glad to hear that, hey, he's like, I want to go and at least support.
Yeah, and maybe to even travel with the squad, for the game in Honduras, who knows as well. Maybe get some training in with them, at least in the meantime. But one last roster note, Emil Assad, or former player, we should say, Emil Assad, finally signed with Cuiabá Esporte Clube, which is down in Brazil. They are now in Serie A, the top league of the Brazilian championship down there. They were in Serie B before they did, I believe, get moved up. Or actually other way around. They were in first, now they're back in B. Is that correct?
That's a great question.
Something along the lines of that.
There's been reports of both, but I want to say it's A or B or B. I'm gonna go B. It's B. It's Serie B because they got relegated.
They were in the bottom of A.
They got relegated.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, good for Assad. Just touch real quickly on a former player, and it finally got established that he's down there. Wish him all the best of luck. Obviously with the Lucho situation, it didn't seem like he was going to stay, but we've kind of beat that one to death. So there was some news about a Leagues Cup Phase 1, the opponents for FC Cincinnati for this year. It's a very interesting format. FC Cincinnati is going to host the 3 Phase 1 matches instead of the 2 group matches. To advance to the knockout stage, FC will have to finish top 4 among the 18 MLS clubs competing in the Phase 1. We're talking about this being later on in the season. So in August, if you make it past that, you'll go to the quarterfinals around middle of August, and then semifinals towards the end of August, with a finale towards August 31st to determine the 3 qualifiers for the 2026 CONCACAF Champions Cup. So again, why we're playing, it's a great question. Leagues Cup, Champions Cup, those are the big competitions for us besides the MLS season. And then obviously the MLS Cup at the very end of the season. There's so many different competitions. It's hard to follow. Our FCC 2 team will be in the US Open Cup. So that'll be nice that at least we have representation, in that competition. But the announced teams, Sam, July 31st, FC Cincinnati is going to be hosting Monterrey. Rayados is coming back to TQL. We played them last year, unfortunately lost in the 2-legged fixture, 3-1 on aggregate. But I believe Sergio Ramos is on Rayados this year, so it should be interesting to have him hopefully come to the Queen City.
Yeah, that's the talk. Obviously a big name to come to TQL. It'll be nice to hopefully get a little bit of revenge. We know Vasquez isn't on their squad anymore, but it'll be nice to get our lick back, if you will, at home. Because I thought we played better at home than we did in Mexico. Yeah, exactly.
Won the first game.
That'll be nice to see. And then August 3rd, we're playing FC Juarez at TQL again. This is the first time we'll ever take on Juarez in club history. So another Mexican club that will play for the first time. But Ryan, I don't understand the whole format, right? I know we had issues with it last year and the year before. What are your thoughts on there being a double header at TQL Stadium with Red Bulls and Monterrey playing after that game or before that game? They don't really know.
I will like it if I can go to that match as well. I think that would be kind of cool to see.
We both know you're not gonna, right? You're gonna.
I hope you would include it as like a double header. I mean, that would be really cool. I doubt that they do it that way. I don't even know if they've announced do season ticket holders just get the first game, like the Monterrey game or anything like that.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but
I would hope so to help Leagues Cup a little bit, but
sure. Yeah, the thing for me, and I think tweeted it out, was look at all the competitions that are happening at TQL. They just announced with Zach Brown Band being the concert there. We have Club World Cup in June, and then we have all of these different competitions, Leagues Cup, in August. I'm a little bit worried about the turf this year, the grass, I should say, but it'll be interesting, because we have July 31st, Monterrey, August 3rd, Juarez. Then you have the doubleheader game with Monterrey, Red Bulls. And then August 7th, Sam, we play Chivas. So the last one, we did play Chivas a few different times, 2022, 2023. I mean, these are massive clubs from Mexico that are coming in with Chivas and Rayados, or Monterrey. So I'm very excited to see the fans that come in for these matches. I don't know, obviously going from August 3rd to August 7th, I think there's going to be some games that are going to be, maybe midweek and stuff like that as well, balancing that with other competitions. How do we balance all of that? We'll talk about it later on in the year, but that's going to affect a lot of things, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're not with a different competition. I feel like people are less likely to tune in, especially if it's midweek, right? Yeah. At least attendance wise, right? So you're looking at possibly slim attendance at TQL, given, like I said, midweek Leagues Cup, and the unfamiliarity, I think, with home fans with these clubs. But obviously, we're hoping for the best, because the more eyes on TQL, the more full seats, I think the better, obviously. But yeah, I think these Mexican clubs should be a good challenge for us.
It's better than playing Monterrey, in February. But although I felt like that was almost like the advantage for us, or I guess March it was. But yeah, it'll be interesting as long as you have those big clubs like that are coming in. I feel like the attendance might kind of be helped in that sense, but the local fan, I don't know how much people are still buying into that. So that'll be interesting to see. But Let me give you a trivia question here. We'll then go to a break and then break down our whole 2025. We'll give you our previews for a lot of different things. So trivia question here of the week. How many FC Cincinnati players in MLS competitions have scored on their debut?
Okay. So let's see. MLS comps. I think we were talking about this earlier. I think I've got one right. So that's at least good. But I'm going to go with 3 players, and I can name them, hopefully. I'm trying not to be over cocky. Lucho, Kevin Kelsey, and Bupenza. Those are my 3 players.
All right, Sam's locking in 3. We will give you the answer later on at the very end of the episode. We'll be right back.
Hey, FC Cincinnati fans. We are pumped to share our new sponsor, Peak Cocktails.
I'm sipping on the passion fruit margarita, which is so spicy and it makes me feel like I'm on the beach.
Ooh, that sounds great. I'm drinking the Blood Orange Spritz, which has a great subtle ginger flavor coming from its scientifically formulated recipe to promote exercise recovery, enhance relaxation, and support a better night's sleep.
Ryan, that's exactly why I love them. Their cocktails are designed to fit seamlessly into your health-conscious lifestyle, giving you the enjoyment of a delicious adult drink without the downsides of alcohol.
Guys, next time you are looking for that post-workout drink or an afternoon pick-me-up, grab a Peak Cocktail. Visit them at www.peakcocktails.com and use the code FLYINLION at checkout to get 20% off your first order. Zach, enjoy your drink.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for listening to our sponsor here. We want to again shout out Goals TV. You guys can go and find all of our episodes and some exclusive content that we're going to be rolling out for you guys as well. In commit, I guess, what would you want to say, Sam? Like kind of related to what we're about to talk about, but the 10-year anniversary. Some pretty cool content coming out with that. So stay tuned. Check out Goals TV, and you can find all that information. But our 10-year anniversary Legacy kit came out this past week, Sam. We finally got the kit for this year. We're both rocking our kits tonight. Are you going to lay your hands on a new Legacy kit from this year?
Probably not, unless it's on like clearance. For me, Legacy kit, it was honestly Wednesday was a crazy day, Ryan, for news for FC Cincinnati. You know, we had Lucho, Evander, and then it was like, oh yeah, we actually have the kit coming later on today. Like this is insane. But we did see prior during that day, the kit was already for sale on soccer.com. So you're seeing it before they announce it later on in the day. And I think first impression is, man, like I wish they would have done better here. Like it felt like they tried too hard. The sash is great. I think we both agree that the sash idea was an idea that we were all looking for. I think the only problem that we've got with the kit is the multicolored blues. If it didn't have the multicolored blues, I think we'd be fine if it was, a dark blue with the orange sash or even just a royal blue with the orange sash. I'd be fine with that. But once again, solid kit. Once you see the players put it on, right?
So I'm gonna halt because I'm laughing for all those who are watching. For those who aren't and listening, Sam is rocking the 2020 kit, the split blues, and you're talking about the multiple blues, and I think everyone can agree that one is probably the worst kit.
Well, yeah, but you get this because it's the first kit. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
19 was.
Well,
19 was the first kit.
At first, as far as new stadium, I think, right? This was the first in the new stadium.
I think it was the 20-year anniversary or something like that for 25-year anniversary for MLS. And that's why they all had like very similar Adidas stripes and stuff. But anyway, it was just funny when you said the multiple blues and then you're rocking the multiple blues. I agree. My first look at this new kit is, I don't like the fact that there are the different blues, but as you see it in person, as you see the players rocking it, like I'm starting to dig it more. Honestly, I'm starting to like it a lot more. The diamond, that you see within the sash is a nice subtle touch. So I do like that. I think we both would agree that we thought the navy that was on top, we would like to see at the very bottom and have that all throughout, and then the orange kind of stripe between. Um, how is this kind of related to the 10-year anniversary thing? Obviously, you get the 10-year anniversary patch, which is really, really cool. I like the logo for that. Is it because there's, the couple different colors? Does it touch back on the 2016-17 kit? I think that's what they were going for, with that. But I just feel like there could have been a little bit better of an effort for that. When you look at some of the other ones in the league, like compared to it, like, yeah, I ultimately think that they did a nice job. Like it's a clean kit. You got kind of nice bold colors with it. The navy I do love, but yeah, it's very interesting. I do like the streetcar video. They unroll the video.
I do want to point out that you gave me crap last week, right? Last episode for not wearing a jersey, right? And now I wear a jersey, but I also am being hypocritical, and so I will still get called out. So let me just wear the right jersey next time, and I won't.
Wear the orange one.
Hopefully,
Everyone
I won't get any
will be
crap.
happy.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that.
You just got to get a better kit, Sam. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
No, but would you agree the streetcar video was a nice?
Yeah, that was really cool. It was
unveil.
cool.
Yeah. So for those who didn't see it, I'm sure you all had, but you did have some of the USL players, that were trying to catch up to the streetcar. I would have liked to see them kind of join up a little bit more, in the video. They just kind of got left behind, unfortunately. Buka's All for Cincy was just brilliant.
Playing it on repeat.
So good. We made a little clip of that. We want to meme that. Matt Miazga, with his heart shape and his fat head over it, again, quality. Roman Celentano with the bubble gun, really, really good as well. I loved Obi's involvement in it too. Just very, very well done with the video. And yeah, I'm excited, just to see him rocking it. We finally have a kit where you can see the numbers, on the back with the contrast, like we did before. The white ones, that was definitely what bothered me. But yeah, I'm excited to see him rocking on the field.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I think all the merch that they'll put out with that 10-year anniversary patch itself will be insane. I'm more looking forward to that because that emblem and that logo is really cool. I really enjoy it and like the story behind it. So just was expecting a little bit better as far as 10th anniversary of the club. A little bit of, like you said, an homage to the USL. Not much of a recognizable homage, but still excited for it to be worn.
We had a lot of questions about the patch, like the club crest. Was that going to be the old one? From USL.
Because we still own the rights to it.
I don't know if we do. Somebody, I think, online put that the USL might own that.
They do.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that's the reason why that we were not able to. If anyone out there knows that, please let us know.
So I'm guessing that they can keep that logo on USL things like the USL fact sheet or whatever. But as far as MLS things, they can't put that logo on there.
Correct. Yeah, where I feel like Orlando, San Jose might own the crest, the rights from that. So they were able to do that for their kits last year. I don't know. Ultimately, the more I look at it, it's growing on me, is what I'm going to say. When you compare it again to the other notable MLS kit releases, I love your breakdown here of the good and the bad. We both agreed LAFC's white kit was brilliant. I'm not a huge collared kit guy, but I do like that. The Dynamos is the one I would have really loved to see us have. The orange with kind of like the diamond throughout it was nice. Orlando's was good. I would agree. Revs was good. Minnesota's always got good kits. And then the RSL, I do like the checkered. I thought that was nice.
Yeah. I really liked RSL's kit, and then they just kept posting about it, and I don't really like it as much anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. They do have, like, if you go and look at their home and aways, like the two that they have this year, I feel like together they're pretty nice.
They're not bad. They're drastically different, but they're not bad.
Yeah. You have the bad, the Columbus or the Cleveland Crew, as you want to call them, have the glow in the dark kit, with the slime looking pattern going down the jersey. Maybe that's the tears of all of the supporters when Cucho left and Christian Ramirez left as well. You put Dallas on here as well. I think theirs is okay. It's just
Just
kind of
plain.
plain.
Yeah.
San Diego's is plain. We can all agree. I think St. Louis has got the worst kit in 2025.
Yeah. Well, San Diego and St. Louis are kind of neck and neck there because St. Louis has that collar is bad. That's a
It's
bad
just a
like
bad
that
collar
is
and
not
a
how you do a
button in the
collar.
middle.
Yeah, with a button. So San Jose's it's busy. I don't know if it's busier. It's not like
Yeah,
plain. It's got like all like the random graffiti lettering on it. Some people really like it and put it as, their top 5 kit, but I just thought it was extremely busy. But
that's
yeah,
fair.
St. Louis and San Diego, I mean, good thing San Diego, like they have something to be excited for as far as, hey, we're a new club, but that kit, I would not be excited for that.
Oh, I mean, our first white kit from 2019 was the same way. I mean, it was plain as can be. It was literally a training kit
Yeah.
with FC Cincinnati thrown on it. Like, so I can't hate on, San Diego's too much for that. But yeah, excited for the season to start. So we're going to give you our official individual predictions for all-star honors or awards or different things like that. I don't think we have done this before, but really excited for the season to start and to put all these random projections out there. So don't hold us to these. But Sam, what do you have for honors?
Yeah, so honors. I think I'm gonna go with Denke as newcomer of the year. I think he'll win that award. We'll see if he's able to compile all the goals or all the assists in order to either be assist leader, goal leader, anything like that. But I feel like as a newcomer, he'll probably take a while to get going, but will find his stride. As far as comeback player of the year, I think Miazga's winning this one because former defensive player of the year. I think he'll re-solidify himself in that back line. And coming off the injury that he had, he'll be pretty darn good with Robinson and Hadebe Hegland in the back, along with obviously Flores now. But my last prediction, which is it's wishful thinking, but I think he can do it. Obviously, he's got the talent to do it. It's just if all the pieces around him come together, I think he could do it. Denke Golden Boot. That is my last prediction there.
I like it. Interesting. So I think everyone kind of had, some favorable mentions for Denke for Golden Boot. We would love to hear what you guys think and your predictions. But I like those, Sam. After hearing the Miazga one, I'm going to echo that one. Actually, I do like that shout for Miazga for comeback player of the year. We got to get him on the field and playing in some real competitions here first,
yeah.
but I think that's a good shout. I had Denke as my new player of the year in the MLS. I believe, did Suarez win that last year? I think
It was dude from LA Galaxy.
yeah, Gabriel Peck.
Yeah.
Gabriel Peck, yeah. So I'm going to go with Denke for new player of the year. I think he's going to get 20 goals in MLS, but I think there's going to be some other guys that have been in the league for a little bit who are going to get a couple more goals. He's still going to have a ton of goals, though. And then I think that Luka Orshana is going to repeat with goal of the year again. Like, I feel like he's just got such magical shots. So we're going to get goal of the year 3 years in a row, which would be pretty special. If you want to look at hypotheticals, what are your thoughts about Evander for winning any award?
I mean, hypotheticals. I think Evander would be winning MVP. I don't think he wins any other award.
Yeah. Yeah, unless it's like a brilliant, free kick or something like that, and he wins
Yeah.
it that way. He's got to come in and integrate fast if he wants to be MVP, and that would just be incredible. Coming in, no preseason.
New club, yeah.
Yeah, new club, new players around him and everything. Like that would just be impressive. So, competition predictions, like we mentioned earlier, we're in several different competitions. MLS season, what are you thinking?
Yeah, MLS season. I think we're both thinking something similar here, but I think I'm gonna go second in the East. Unfortunately, I believe Miami might just, get over the hump there and get first again, win Supporter Shield again. I think with once again the flux of the competitions, I feel like we'll lose a little grip on maybe an MLS lead at some point. But I'm gonna go second in the East.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Second in the East sounds good to me. I would hope that we would win, a supporter shield. I think Tom Bogert even had predicted that that was going to be his shield winner. I just think there's too many like unknowns and a lot of, different pieces that are in to integrate. I still think by the end of the season, like we're going to be solid. Like they're definitely, I'm biased, but they're my pick to win MLS Cup because by the end of the year, you're going to figure it out. You might not win the regular season. You might not get the shield. But you're going to be able to put it together when it means the most. We're going to possibly get even another DP, I think, in the summer probably. So you solidify your team by then and you make a big rush, towards the end of the season and finish strong.
I will second that as well for MLS Cup because obviously, like you said, with the amount of new guys that we've got to the squad, I think
injuries
and injuries, I'm hoping that this year, right, we don't get as much from the injury bug. And towards the end of the season, yeah, you seriously see a lot of players come together, come to their own and win MLS Cup.
Yeah, and so our next competition, we'll do it kind of by order, Sam. We'll go CONCACAF Champions Cup next year. What are your predictions with that?
I think we're the champs. I think we're the champs of the Champions Cup here.
Wow.
I know it's big, but I think we have the squad to do it. We have a lot of European experience on our squad now, a lot of obviously South American experience. So a lot of these players have played in big time games. And obviously it's going to be a tall task, especially starting out in the beginning of the season. I guess the chemistry of the squad you wouldn't really think would be good enough to get there. But just watching, our supposed next opponent after this Honduras kind of campaign against Tigres, I feel like them kind of being shaky makes me kind of feel that we do have a shot at beating some of these teams and getting, past that hump of last year, looking at, okay, what did we do different, that we did against Monterey to get there. And I think that'll be the competition other than obviously MLS that we'll focus on the most. And hopefully we walk out as champs.
Man, we couldn't differ, enough on this. I think we unfortunately are out in the second round again at the hand of Tigres. They did handle their opponent, in the second leg at home. Going down to Mexico, early on in the season, they've played several matches. We've only played, one or two or three at that point. Like there's too many unknowns. Is Evander going to integrate at that point? Do we get Dado back at that point, Santos with injuries, Miazga's maybe not all the way back. Like there's just too much, I think, that early on we don't figure out as well, where Tigres is so deep and they have, from top to bottom, their roster is stacked. I just don't see being enough. I feel like I'll give you credit. Like maybe I feel like if we play Tigres well at home, like I feel like we could do possibly a really good result against them. It's on the road that I fear, just like we saw with Monterrey. It's just too big of a travel situation, middle of the weeks, all the injuries stacked upon that, in the way that we've kind of had our preseason. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. Let's just say that. But that's kind of how we see it. Leagues Cup, as we mentioned, middle of the season. This one's going to be later in July, starting into August. We kind of went through the format earlier on in the episode. If you missed that, go ahead and go back and check that out. Sam, where are you feeling FC Cincinnati and Leagues Cup?
Yeah, I think throughout Leagues Cup, like I said, I think this will be the competition that you'll see a lot more rotation in. And even with rotation, I feel like we'll get to the semifinals. I know that may be a little wishful thinking as well, but I think we've got the squad to do it, obviously. But the semifinals is going to be a little tough to get to, especially with all the other competitions. Hopefully, like I said, injury bug won't get to us there, but I'm thinking semifinals with this one.
So I originally put quarterfinals, but I'm actually going to switch mine to semifinals as well. You've convinced me on this. By the timing that we're playing in that, I feel like there might be enough in the squad, and I think they might handle Leagues Cup similar to MLS Cup run. I hope I'm like kind of correct in this, but if we start hitting our stride in Leagues Cup, maybe we see the good experience in this kind of, you have to win to advance situation that will boost our chances, and we'll kind of get that taste of like, okay, we made it pretty far in this tournament. We know what we're needing to do, and then we really kind of kick it into gear for MLS Cup. So I think that's a good shout. I think semifinals is attainable, especially the setup, the format, in, you know, especially in Leagues Cup. You never know if the other teams are going to take it as serious as well. So I feel like there's a really good opportunity for us to do well in that competition. So great shout for that.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, it sounds like you're obviously the prediction is a better run in Leagues Cup. You think we have a better chance because it'll be further along in the season to win Leagues Cup rather than obviously Champions Cup?
Yeah, I think they're going to take it maybe a little bit more serious because of that. Like, I just feel like the timing wise, maybe because of, you know, potentially in the summer, you bring in some big pieces as well that can contribute for that. I just hope it doesn't become like a slowed down period or like a period where, you know, hey, we're just using our rotational guys and stuff like that. I think they took it serious last year. I just think they're gonna use it kind of like a catapult to kind of bring us even into the next gear for the end of the season. And hopefully you have a little bit more rested bodies at that point. You don't have guys that are playing out of position and stuff like that. Where last year we were honestly just trying to figure out where we could play these guys and what was our best lineup even at that point. Hopefully by Leagues Cup we're kind of hitting our stride. And we've learned a little bit from beginning of the season, maybe towards the middle. You're getting Miazga back for multiple games in a row, stuff like that, where I just feel more confident about that at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Speaking on the specific CONCACAF Champions preview, our first match of 2025 for FC Cincinnati, Wednesday, February 19th. So this coming Wednesday, it's going to be at 10 p.m. Everyone's got to stay up for this match. It's going to be in Honduras against FC Motagua. So located in the capital of Honduras. It's going to be in this 30,000 seat stadium that I think I've seen the U.S. men's national team playing before. The field is always terrible. So I just want to prepare everyone for that. Just like in Jamaica last year, it was a mess. I don't know how that plays into things. It definitely leveled the playing field for a little while last year, if I remember correctly. I don't know if that plays into the guys that we play, you know, in this game as well. We're talking about, you know, is Gilberto Flores going to play? Is Lucas Engel going to play as well? I think Engel probably will. I don't think Flores, as we mentioned before. We're unsure on Evander. I doubt that he'll play, especially traveling down in this possibly terrible, you know, pitch condition. Not really fully integrated with the squad too much. And against a lesser opponent, although there's a lot of history, you know, with this club. So their nickname are the Blue Cyclones, Sam. They've qualified for the tournament 20 times prior. They've made it as far as the quarterfinals twice. 2023, actually, they upset CF Pachuca, which was a huge upset at the time. And that was their most recent entrance into the tournament, you know, at that point was 2023. They qualified being second in their league. So it'll be interesting to see. They've already played, I think, a couple of matches. They've lost both, I think, already. But just to get back on the field, see our squad again, I think that's exciting. What's your prediction? What's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, prediction. I think I'm gonna go 2-0.
Let's hear your lineup first. Let's hear the lineup first.
2-0 is my prediction.
Okay, all right.
And then lineup wise, I think we'll see. It's tough for me. Obviously, you look at the guys who haven't been announced who need to kind of get adjusted with the team right before they hop on the field. So looking at the squad for me, I've got Celentano, Yedlin, Robinson, and then my big decision is between either Powell or Anunga. I know Anunga in the past has played right back before, so I know Pat has pushed Yedlin to a center back at times. And
good shout.
I'm debating whether or not, you know, he'll just use Powell as a center back or he'll use, you know, Yedlin. So that's where I'm kind of you take either one of those players, right? And then honestly, Hadebe, I'm still we haven't heard much from his hamstring. I'm assuming he'll be good. I think Powell and Anunga, you could see those factor in if Hadebe is not ready to go. And then obviously, like we've seen during the preseason, Engel, Obi, Buka, and then with Evander not being announced officially yet, I think we'll have to throw Kubo in there somewhere, whether he's playing up top or if he's playing, centrally in the midfield. But hopefully we'll see Orshano and Denke up top.
I think mine is very similar, and the more you talked about it, the more you like talked me into like having a similar back line. I'm gonna have Halsey actually on the right wing back, and then I think you're gonna see probably Yedlin and Powell kind of in the middle with Robinson. Hadebe is coming off a hamstring injury. Having him play in, Wednesday, then Saturday, I think is probably not likely.
Yeah, and he hasn't gotten much preseason minutes.
No, Carter reported he was back training with the squad, I believe as soon as today, I'm pretty sure, and as you're listening yesterday. So yeah, hopefully he's back and good. I just don't think they push him to that, especially for two competitions. So it's probably more of a rotated back line for this match. Your midfield is going to be strong. And then, yeah, Kubo, Orshano, and Denke up top for me as well. I think you don't have Evander ready yet, but I think maybe by Saturday, hopefully he's in there. But captain-wise, you originally...
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Don't you
dare. Don't you dare. Captain for this game. I think I've changed my answer because I've changed, the way the agenda was looking. Don't let Ryan fool you, whatever he says next. My captain will probably be Yedlin in this one.
Wow.
I think that's a good shout there. And he'll be able to, either from the center back position or right back position, will be able to handle that captain duty.
I'm going to go with Obi. It would be his fourth time being captain for FCC. Wouldn't be honestly surprised if it's Obi. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Yedlin. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Robinson. Like between those three, I think that's who you're looking at. And for maybe the MLS match, it's just depending on who's out there, honestly. But your prediction was 2-0 for this match. I think I'm going to go a 3-0 win, actually. I think Denke is going to get on the board. I think you're going to see Kubo. And then I hope to see a Buka goal again. I think this dude's going to just have a great year.
I think like last year down in Jamaica, I think somebody off the bench that you wouldn't expect gets a goal, because Powell got a goal last year. Pinto got a goal. So I think guys off the bench, like maybe an Anunga, or maybe even, do we see one of the young guns right out there?
Sure.
Never know.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty cool, especially, getting their first potential goal for FCC down in Honduras. We had a couple of that last year.
Yeah.
I hope that we have a decent supporter group that's down there, and watching this match. I know we had several that were in Jamaica. This is going to be the southernmost game that we've ever played in. Just a little fun fact for you there. Excited to see them, just in a different environment. Hope we can get our win and get out of there, honestly. It's one of those scenarios where, again, watching this game, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they've got this figured out. But I just, again, I'm a little bit worried that the field is going to be an issue. The first half, I think it's going to end probably first half 0-0. You're going to get all 3 goals in the second half. So just something to look forward. For those who are interested in finding how I can watch this game, I believe it's going to be on the Fox Sports networks, probably like FS2, FS1, something like that. So hopefully we will be able to watch it again like we did last year.
Yep.
We talked mainly, again, so far on preview for CONCACAF Champions Cup for this Wednesday match. We do have match day number 1 for the MLS against New York Red Bulls. Saturday at home, another at home match to start the year. Sam, I think we've had 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. It's going to be a cold one again. You were talking about the end of February for these matches. Having Red Bulls come in will be interesting. They're coming off of their MLS final appearance. They've added a lot of pieces. Tim Parker, experienced center back. They had Raheem Edwards, who I thought would have been a nice pick for us for a left wing back. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, a guy that was from Bayern Munich. So a really experienced forward, I think, would be a nice piece for them. Marcelo Morales, another guy I thought would be nice for us for left wing back. And then another center forward from Poland as well. So they've lost Tolkien. They lost, I think, the other striker besides Lewis Morgan as well. I forget who that was specifically. And then one of the other center backs. So it's a little bit of a different New York Red Bulls. be interesting to see, how they come in to start their season, kind of riding their high of making the cup final last year. Hopefully, Sam, we have a little bit of grit in our mouth because we lost both games against them last year. So I'm hoping that we're coming out a little bit angry about how it ended. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, obviously for Red Bulls, it's going to be an interesting season for them. Like you said, coming off a surprising MLS final appearance, a team that just got hot in the playoffs and figured it out right there at the end, and had a mediocre kind of MLS season and got into the playoffs there. But so it should be interesting for both squads. Obviously, beginning of the season, you're trying to figure things out right away. I'm just hoping that it doesn't happen to be one of those games like the beginning of last season where it was first game was a 0-0 draw and nobody had fun and it was awful. So
That was awful.
yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit better of a time than that.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope there's goals involved with this. So before we kind of get into lineups, do you have any prediction on the sword pull? Like we did this last year for several ones, but I'm gonna let you think about it. I'm gonna give you my prediction. I think it's gonna be a Bengals player. I think you're probably gonna see Sam Hubbard come back out and pull the sword. Maybe another Bengals guy. I don't know, but I think Hubbard's probably my prediction.
Ooh, I didn't really think about this one. Um, yeah, I would say somebody that is in the area, right? As far as locally, they don't have to travel in for it, and I don't think it'll be too big. But I would assume, like you said, a Bengals player is a good shout. Hubbard obviously would be a good shout, local guy. Maybe even
You want to
kind of
say
yeah.
like? Well, I think all the Reds guys are in their spring training.
Yeah,
So I was
I'm not
gonna
gonna.
say it
Yeah,
could have
not
been
a
a
Reds
Reds
guy.
guy.
I'm even sitting over here thinking like maybe uh like a former college basketball player or like
Something like that.
maybe like a Kenyon Martin would be really cool.
Okay.
Or I don't. I'm just trying to think really fast and talk so that way we can get on to the next thing because I really don't know who's pulling the sword and
Yeah, I mean they're running out of like the big ones that we could think of, like that haven't done it already. Like, so are you gonna start getting repeats this year for sword pull, or like I think they have to go like a little bit further into their bag of
would
like
you go hold on would you go a USL championship guy who hasn't done the
yeah.
sword pull yet,
No, that's a
right?
good
To
shout.
kick off the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. Well,
I've got some time to think about it. Now I've got
that's
some
true.
ideas for it.
Okay, I feel like maybe collectively you're gonna see some of the original guys in
Yeah,
the
you
original
could see a
roster.
Corbin Bone, Omar Cummins
Yeah,
could
well,
be out
let's try to
there.
get all of them in.
Yeah,
Had
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole off season. Let's get all of the, original roster guys that they could get come in and do collective sword pull to
Start
kick
off the
off
10-year.
10
Yeah,
years.
let's
Good
go.
shout. I think that's where you're probably I think you're probably right about that.
Let's
I
go.
think I'm excited about the TIFO as well. I think the Forge is
Yeah.
putting up something good. It's probably going to be again related to the 10-year anniversary type
Yep.
thing. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited for the vibes just to get back to TQL. Let's make TQL a fortress, really again, let's turn it into a 2023 vibes. We missed that last year, so starting the year out, we need to dominate. And so I think lineup wise, you're going to see a strong one. Celentano, obviously, you got Yedlin, you got Robinson. I think you probably have Powell as well, and then I think you get Hidebe, in this
Agreed.
game.
Agreed.
Midfield, or well, I should say Angle on the left, Obi, Buka, and then I think you do see Evander or Shano and Denke. I think you're gonna see the three-headed monster.
Wow. We would need an announcement like tomorrow.
He's already down. He's already with the club, so it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
the
yeah.
announcement's got to just like happen or something.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If it's not Evander, do you
It's Kubo.
do you throw Kubo in there or do you like
Oh well,
do you see
I
anything
guess
else?
with Red Bulls, like, are you thinking like two strikers instead of
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm
maybe a Santos if he's healthy or a Baird
Mhm.
potentially?
Yeah, depending on obviously fitness wise
Yeah,
coming out of
true.
the Champions Cup game.
Not a bad shout. Yeah, absolutely. But I hope it's those three.
No, yeah, yes, of course. That would
The DOE.
thinking best team on the
Top
field.
three are the DOE. The Denke, Orishano, and Evander.
The dough.
Yeah, it's our trio dough.
Oh, jeez. Don't
Yeah,
make t-shirts
prediction.
yet, people. It's not Ryan's not making an official doll.
The DOE. Prediction wise, what do you got?
I'm going 1-0. I'm thinking it's going to be slightly more exciting than last year's first game by 1 goal, right? So I think we get a second half goal at some point. I don't know who's going to score it. Don't care. Just would hope for a 1-0 win to begin the MLS season.
We're along the same lines. I'm going to go 2-1. Denke is going to get his debut goal in first MLS competition. For that, I guess I'm hoping, like I mentioned earlier, he gets his debut goal in Champions Cup, but for at least the MLS, I hope he gets the game winner. Anyway, I do believe, though, it's going to be like a later, maybe like 85th minute goal or something like that, just to kind of like really get the crowd on their feet and like ready for the season with like a late winner. But I'm excited to just honestly see the team again, in TQL. Hopefully we'll have decent weather for the match like we're talking about. But I think the atmosphere is going to be there. I think everyone's excited for the season. There's just been so much going on. Come out and support the club. Obviously, again, like we don't have Lucho, but look at the team that we've assembled, like that Chris and that Pat has to work with. Very excited about it. Any final thoughts, prediction wise, or preview wise?
On that. Yeah, on that, I think people should be excited to begin new affinities for players, right?
Oh, for sure.
I think with Acosta leaving, you'll see people start to get to know the players that may not have been, highlighted or spotlighted enough last season. I think, we've talked about a lot this preseason how much Buka we think is going to play a huge role, and I think people should genuinely be fans of him. The way he plays, I think, is very.
Is it Buka's team this year?
I don't think it's his team, but it's
somebody's got to step into like their claim it as like their team. I think it's honestly more of a team vibe.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It has,
100%. And then over the years, I think you'll eventually see if Evander stays, it'll become his, right? As he's just naturally the number 10. It's usually their team. But I think guys like Denke, obviously, you'll get to know him a lot more, embrace him a lot more. I know in the past, our number 9s have left us with kind of a bad taste in our mouths after one season, half a season, different things like that. So obviously hoping for Denke to be here for at least 3 years. So I think it'll be nice, right? It'll be refreshing, new faces, new people in the stadium. Let's just embrace the newness because it's going to be exciting this year.
Yeah, and I mean, on the same terms of that, I would imagine like if we look at, okay, Lucho's not here, you're going to get a kit. Who are you getting on the back of your jersey? And I feel like you're right. I feel like this is the year of really kind of embracing these different players. And honestly, like more of like a team vibe situation. Like not that it wasn't before, but like it was very much of like, okay, how do we get the ball to Lucho? How do we make this work through Lucho?
Well, also,
it's going to be spread around, and I just feel like you're going to see very much the same with like support. Like you're going to have a lot of people that love Orishano, a lot of people that love Denke, Evander, Buka. You have like from, very front to back, you have a lot of lovable guys, I think, too.
I think it'll be, like you said, less of who's going to save us, right? And it be Lucho, right, every time. Now it's exciting to have multiple players that you can name of like, who's going to save us? We think, hey, Denke could step up. Buka could step up. Orishano has shown that he could step up. Kubo, like he's a veteran guy. He's been here for a while. Like we have multiple people that now we can say, hey, give them the ball.
Yeah. Does the depth of the squad worry you? I know that was one of our big things last year, and especially if you want to be an elite team, if you want to win MLS Cup, you got to have depth. We've seen it, with Galaxy. We've seen it all across the board. The way the roster is assembled right now, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think as far as fitness, it could be a little troublesome for those players that
depth, assuming that everyone's healthy. Let's say.
Yeah, I'm saying fitness as far as like if a let's say a star player like maybe Orishano's having a tough go of it, right? And you drop him out of the squad, like fitness wise, he's not playing every game, right? And you're obviously expecting a lot out of him and all these other players. I think it could be difficult, especially if some players off the bench get hot, like we've seen in the past of, our strikers last year, right? Like a Santos, Corey Baird, guys who didn't show up. Nico didn't show up, but Kelsey showed up for that 6 game stretch and he was hot, right? And so I think you will have that this season, but obviously the hopes are that the main guys that we've talked about, that core, confidence stays up. Even if there's lulls, you'll know, hey, he'll have a good game next game type vibe.
Yeah, I mean, you have people that are willing to step into those positions, like a next man up situation. Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think like we have a lot of floor raisers, this year compared to last year, especially. There were so many unknowns like throughout the whole season. Who's going to play left wing back? Who's going to play right wing back to start? Then you solidified that. But then who's going to play striker? Like there was
who's going to
just
be
a
in the
lot
middle
of
with Acosta too, and Buka was there.
100%. And like, is Lucho's head in it? Is he still hurt? There's just so many unknowns with that. So yeah, there's a lot of new pieces, but if you look like a starting 11, like if you have your ideal starting 11 for the entire season, you're solid. You have guys that like other players have to earn those spots over the guys that we have there, and that's a good thing. But if you have like Kubo coming off the bench and he had 10 goals last year, like career year, like great year for him, but like experience, like you mentioned, that's what you need, especially in cup runs, multiple competitions. Like you need a Kubo off the bench like that. You need Baird. You need, honestly, Santos, both of those guys to step up. You need those rosters, the space to be, contributors, honestly, is what it is. But then you have, a Nunga who was a starter for Nashville last year that can come off the bench and give you good minutes. Like, I think that's what we did not have before. And I think that, with Flores as a backup center back, I still think center back's a little bit weak in terms of depth, especially with Hagelin coming off a big injury. Miazga's not all the way there yet. Like, those guys are not ready. Like, they're probably match day 3 or 4 before you see them integrated.
At least start, yeah.
Yeah, so like center back's a little bit of a worry. Midfield depth's a little bit better, especially because guys can play in different positions. I think you're one piece away, and I think they're waiting for the right person, whether it's before the end of April, or you honestly say, look, we got this one open senior roster spot. Let's go in July and say, this is our guy. This is who we want. We've had the beginning of the year to kind of see where we need to add depth. And then you're going to get that one piece, possibly even a DP in the middle of the year. And it's going to just vault you, even more. And I think that's what we just did not have last year. So we have solidified pieces in your starting lineup. You have decent depth. You're maybe 1 or 2 pieces away, and then you just catapult. You just go from there. So if Dotto can, really elevate his game, if Halsey can elevate his game, that's where the wingbacks can be huge. So having the youth integrate, having some of that depth come in, like I'm excited about it. Clearly, I'm talking about it like I'm excited, but it's more established than it's been in the last few years, and I'm really, just waiting to see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it, like I said, it'll be exciting. Can't wait. We've got 3 games in a week
Right.
and a half, right? So we're kicking off real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll give you a breakdown of these games for the next episode. Before we go, trivia question and answer, Sam, if you're ready.
Oh, so ready.
All right, so question-wise, how many FC Cincinnati players in MLS competitions have scored in their debut? Sam, you locked in 3, and it was Lucho, Kelsey, and Bupenza. Sam was actually 5. 5 players have scored in their FC Cincinnati debut in the MLS competitions. You have Bertone, 2019, Locadia, 2020, Brenner and Acosta in the same game in 2021, and Bupenza in 2023 against Nashville.
Oh,
Those are your 5. We haven't had one in 2 years now, but hoping that Denke can get his debut goal and make that 6, but I'm excited.
yeah. I mean, I thought Kelsey had, but I guess
It was the second game. He played
second
Orlando,
game.
and
Yeah,
then
it was the sub.
was the second. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang. Obviously, I feel like Bertone was one I missed that I should have gotten there, but that's interesting. Obviously, hoping Denke, maybe you throw Engel in there. Maybe he's crossing something. Maybe an Olympico, maybe from the corner. I mean,
There you go. Evander, is Evander going to get one too?
exactly. Evander getting one too.
I don't know. Who's taking the PKs now, Sam?
Probably Evander or Denke. Denke. I'm gonna go Denke. Final answer.
Final answer, Denke. I think Evander did for Portland, so we'll see how that works out, and they talk about it. Maybe they alternate.
Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, man? It's a good problem to have. Good problem to have, but we are excited. Thanks again for listening to our 2025 preview. Hope we are right, especially about the MLS Cup prediction there. But thanks again for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be with you guys next week.